Alright, so this stream I was just gonna give my review of the Honkai Star Rail version 3.0 update, and I'll just say straight up that I think this update offers a premier anime mobile gaming experience, okay? But the thing is, as I did this before stream, if you go to an incognito tab on YouTube, you type in HSR 3.0 review, we just see a bunch of people poo-pooing the game. Like, we got a 5.5 out of 10, the most disappointing major patch update. It was worse than expected. HSR messed up. This sucks. HSR still sucks. This is a 1 hour review. 1 hour of this guy apparently crying about how much he dislikes Honkai Star Rail. Do they even play the game? They're not even like in the game. They're just like watching a quest walkthrough. Oh wait, this is Ruku Sensei. Wait, this is like the one Ellen Joe song guy, right?
This girl right here is in fucking high school. Fuck Hoyo. Either maker of age or nerf for tits, you can't have both.
I don't even think he plays Honkai Star Rail though. This is just a Wuthering Waves. Yeah, so I feel like most of these channels, so how do I want to start this? So at a high level, what's happening is all you guys are getting influenced by influencers, quite frankly. Because I noticed this when I was playing Honkai Gay Rail, when I logged in for the first time for 3.0, I had people in my Twitch chat just telling me how bad it is. And I had people saying Honkai Yap Rail. And I will ban you if you use the words yap, if you use the words crash out, if you use the words low bro, if you use any of those words, you're banned from my chat. Not because I think you're a Zoomer idiot if you use those words, but because, quite frankly, I don't think you can speak English very well if you use those words. It's kind of like if you like are learning Japanese and you start saying like sugoi randomly to like try to fit in, or I don't know, or like desu or eto. That's what I do when I'm like in Japan. Like I go to Japan, I start ordering a coffee and be like, eto soy es beta malo tango soy latte gaisimasu desu eto. Then like all the YouTubers giving reviews are either hetero waves or loser zone 0 channels. Like this one here is a hetero waves channel. But then even on the X platform or Reddit, when you see someone shitting on the premier game that is Honkai Gay Rail, you click on their profile and it's always a Wuwa or loser zone 0 player. Like anyone else notice that or just me? Maybe my dad. I'll ask him later. And I think the reason for it is because we got 10 hours of content, whereas they only have like 3 hours of content in their update. So they beat their update really fast. So now they're just all really bored and quite frankly have nothing better to do than to just, well, troll. Meanwhile, us trailblazers are just having so much fun in N4ES that we not even bothered posting about how much we like it on online platforms since we're still playing it and distracted by how peak the update is. First thing I liked about N4ES is like, I like how it's kind of like a major story update, but it's also like a side story as well. And what I mean by that is I like how I was kind of getting burnt out of how all the stories were a bunch of lore about all the Aeons and things like that. Whereas in N4ES, we kind of have like a full reset with the Titan lore, right? That's like one thing I do like. So it kind of feels like a actual new planet and like a new reset in the lore. The basic lore of this update is that a mad titan built up an army and he attacks the holy city and we have to go and defeat him. And the titan's name is Nikador. Sorry, I'm like scared of saying any words that start with Ni. In fact, I avoid all those words. That's why I didn't even stream this update at all. Like, that is probably why this Titan became so powerful, because I assume this Titan had to have been planning this attack on the city for decades, right? And Phynon was like, Algea, we need to stop stop who? Actually forget it. Just didn't want to risk it. That probably goes on for years, just not worth being canceled since everything is so frickin' PC nowadays. But eventually the Titan attacks the city and it's like, okay, we gotta deal with this problem now. So, yeah, a pretty simple plot to follow along with, which was a nice change of pace after Penacony's more complicated web of plot lines. I think, like, the opening in general, once you get past the stupid hoe that is Black Swan, who is the most insufferable character in all of Honkai Gay Rail.
And the Influencable that has been revealed by the garden's mirror is like a treasure inside a display case. Dazzling, yet out of reach. I need a sharp nail to break through that glass. And that's where you come in. Only through trailblazing
It's
can
just insufferable. Okay, whoa, holy shit. She dropped the title. Actually, one thing I did like with this update is they use the word trailblazing a lot. Anyone else notice that? They use the word trailblazing a lot, which I found cool.
back to light.
Imagine Black Swan working at like a DMB. Should be great at that. Be like, the renewal of a driver's license, a task that I, as an ethereal memo keeper of the DMV, am too familiar with. Then she'd just like ramble on and waste your time for the next hour. Alas, the ethereal clock inches closer to the hour of 5, and I fear this ethereal journey draws to an end. I bid you farewell, Trailblazer, as the DMB closes its celestial gates at 5. But fear not, as we can resume this ethereal journey tomorrow. She'd be a great government employee.
I trust you won't disappoint me.
After we get through the annoying Black Swan dialogue, I feel like the start of the update was like pretty good. The thing is a lot of people are saying there's yapping. You know, they're using that term, a bunch of rambling. I didn't really notice any rambling in the update until maybe the end bit with Herda. Because the Herda stuff, they like extended that stuff a little bit, but that's like more specific. The very start, I didn't really notice like any rambling at all. It felt like pretty natural to me. I feel like this update felt most natural in terms of meeting every character in the new region and then actually going to the dungeons. Like, for one, the dungeons are just the best they've been, for sure. They're like integrated in the map too, aren't they? Yeah, they are. So they're not even like instance dungeons. They're like actually integrated into the map. So some of these puzzles I don't think I've quite solved yet. But if we go in here, we'll see it's a 3D map. So they're way more three-dimensional. Yeah, I just feel like the puzzles are as good as they've ever been. It's definitely a massive improvement from the previous 2 updates. And at least for me, if I'm playing like an update, I would say like the dungeons and puzzles might be the #1 thing for me. If anything, I feel like it felt more like a Bellabog for me in terms of the pacing. Like, I didn't feel like Penacony had a bit more annoying pacing, especially towards the end, where you would get a lot of story segments, and then you would get maybe a bit of, like, puzzle, dungeon crawling gameplay and whatnot. I felt like this was pretty constant puzzle crawling gameplay until maybe the very end. You think people are just tired of this? You mean tired of the game, or what? I would agree. I feel like if this was out, here's the vibe I get. If we replace Penacony with this update, the vibe for Penacony was way bigger, right? Like, people were vibing more with Penacony launch. If we just had this be Penacony and we swap the updates around, I think people would be like Amphorius's peak. And then if this was Penacony, people would be saying it's ass. That's the feeling I get. I think it's fully a vibe thing. I will say the cutscenes they did have were pretty short. That's actually the main criticism I probably have, is like a lot of the cutscenes would be very hype and stuff, but then you would get out of the cutscene and it would just look very lame. Like, there was one cutscene when they're confronting the Titan and it's all epic, and then the cutscene ends and your characters are just calmly talking with no tension at all that the previous cutscene was conveying. Yeah, it's right here actually. I skipped right to it somehow. See, they're just like calmly talking here, when the cutscene right before this was displaying a more tense scenario. So I feel like this happened a couple times, and it was definitely a major presentational issue. I like how this update was really long. It had a lot of good dungeons. The new lore, learning about the whole new region, was good. I like how it's like a full reset. It actually feels like a new planet. You don't have to like quite remember all the previous stuff necessarily. And then they still have their end game as well that they've always had, because the end game in Honkai Star Rail is already like pretty figured out. Now, in terms of the end game, the main thing I've seen complained about is people are mad that the HP pools are higher, right? I think that's like the main complaint I've seen, is that people are mad that the HP pools are higher, and I just don't understand. That sounds like a skill issue to me. It's like getting mad that your math classes get harder. Like where these people like, damn, calculus really has an inflated operations pool. Like before in algebra class, we just had addition and subtraction, multiplication. But now they're teaching us these things called derivatives and integrals, and I just can't handle this operation inflation. It's a problem with my brain. I feel like everyone who complains about HP pool, we can go into their account, we can check if they have Silverwolf. They probably don't. And if they do have Silverwolf, they're probably not built. That would be my guess. They probably don't have Silverwolf built. They probably don't have Sparkle built. It's like, what do you expect? You're not going to build like the most powerful trailblazers and then you're going to like complain when you get your ass handed to you. Then again, like I said, we're getting trolled by ZZZ players, and isn't their game really easy? Like ZZZ is basically just autoplay, except you press a button nonstop like this, and then you wait for the shiny light. So, you know, they're just they're not even low skilled, they're also just like very low brain capacity as well. Overall vibe of the world, honestly, I wasn't expecting much, because I didn't think I was like much into Greek lore stuff, but a lot better than I thought. I like the overall map for sure. And then I also feel like it fits into the theme of Honkai Star Rail, because the thing is back in like ancient Greece and ancient Roman times, everyone was blatantly gay. Like look it up if you don't believe me. So I feel like that kind of fits into their like agenda, I guess. Like that's actually why the Roman Empire fell, is that they allowed too many straight people into the empire, and things kind of like took a turn for the worse there. But if you look at like even like modern culture, the most omnipotent country right now is the US of A, right? Which country has the most gay people, the highest gay population? It's the US of A. Like that's why we're so powerful. And even more specifically, San Francisco is the gayest American city, which is also why it's the most powerful one. Like San Francisco's where flippin' Meta is and Open AI. Like this is the city where the Singularity AI is going to be born out of. And overall, what we see through history is that when you congregate a bunch of gay minds into one place, those regions tend to develop the most. So San Francisco is kind of like the modern day Constantinople of the world. What was that? Oh yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I like the Greek theme on this. I like the Roman. Is it Roman or Greece? Whatever. It's kind of the same thing. I feel like it's the gayest region yet that we've had thus far in this game. I think probably the last thing I'll talk about, which is the other. Actually, this is the worst part of the update. Actually, it's the best part of the update. It's a worst part, but it can be framed as the best part. And that is all the new upcoming trailblazers, besides the Herta, who we already have released. Everyone else coming out that we know of, which will be what? Phanon, Medai, Algia, Trippy, Catherine, I don't know. All these upcoming trailblazers, they're all very, very mid-hose. Very mid-hose, very mid-trailblazers. I think they're the worst designs we've had, quite frankly, forever. But what that allows us to do is to save polls to get more Silverwolf copies, which will be next banner. Overall, I'm going to give this update a 7.5 out of 10. But if this is a YouTube video, I'm going to put 9.5 out of 10 in the thumbnail, because you'll probably click it because you're an idiot. All right, I'll turn it all to you guys now.